Welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast where this time we do a food coma on Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty. As host this week, I'll be pretty much handling everything. It's only me and Jat this week. Say hi, Jat.
Hello, hello. It's good to be here.
Yeah, pretty much we're the only people of the group that have played the game, and we'll be sharing our thoughts for what we thought of the game and the future of the Cyberpunk franchise. But please check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Audible. Like the podcast and follow us on Twitter as well at A Slice of Gaming. And then make sure to check out our main podcast, A Slice of Gaming, and our side podcast, bi-weekly, A Slice of Anime. With all that said, let's get into it. Pretty much, Ja, what was your overall thoughts on the game? And big
Right,
picture.
so the game as a whole, like as a complete package, it was an amazing experience. I mean, of course, when it launched, it had a rough start. It was like all over, like not just gaming news. I think even me news. Everybody who was a gamer, not a gamer, knew about it. But then, you and I played it this year after everything
Yes.
was fixed.
Yeah,
Oh,
saying that, yeah, we both played it post patch 2.0. So we didn't
yeah.
have any of the main issues. So you can continue.
Oh yeah. And so it was worth waiting for that because honestly, like this is just such a beautiful world, like Night City. And it's as like obviously the whole point of the game is that there are problems with Night City, but it is just like a beautiful world to look at, a fun world to be in. The combat's very good. The characters have so much depth, and I really liked this game. As an as a fun action game, and also kind of like a political thriller, because there's a lot going on, more so with Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, for sure. I also it's in my top 5 of the year of what I've played. I adored the game. Like we said, we both played it post patch, and I thought the combat was very fun and very versatile. You can really kind of do what you want, and I know that's something they fixed. And I thought the driving was really good. Like the characters, yeah, they have a lot of depth in the main story. And then Phantom Liberty, that's just up and above, probably the best DLC I've ever played for the story they're telling there and how they handle it, and the amazing set pieces. I don't think you can get much better than what they put on the table with this game. Because I've also played The Witcher 3, and I do like Cyberpunk more than Witcher. So I don't know if that's saying much, but I really did like this game a lot. I put 50 hours into it in a week and a half. Anything else you want to say?
Um, yeah, actually, yeah, you did talk about like how long it took to beat it. That's another thing that motivated me to play this game compared to Witcher. I mean, of course, I'm sure like The Witcher is like a beautiful experience throughout, but this length didn't feel too long. It felt like a good 20-hour length that like it just needed to be this, and then of course you can make it longer by doing the side missions and stuff.
Yeah, I did all the side jobs and gigs and everything, so I got my money's worth out of the game. And Witcher did take me 75 hours, so that was definitely a very long experience as well. But even 50 hours is very long. But I thought none of my time was wasted for sure. I enjoyed everything I played. So if we want to kind of start with the thoughts on the combat overall, and what build did you go for?
Oh, build like which path or
Well, with combat, what weapons did you lean towards using, and did you lean into hacks or quick hacks or anything, or were you kind of guns blazing or stealth, just kind of that?
yeah. So I think for a lot of the game, I was guns blazing, but then there's a certain boss you defeat in the main story towards the end who has his katanas, and then once I defeated that boss, I picked up their katana and I was just going in with the katanas, and I'm like, wow, this is a fun slasher.
Yeah, I leaned towards. I had a assault rifle, I had a shotgun, and I had a sniper. And I was pretty guns blazing, but I did lean into using quick hacks pretty often as well. But I would say I never really tried stealth. So that's kind of where was on that. And then, did you do any of the side quests?
So the only one I actually really did was the romance quest. Because yeah, that was the only one I was interested in. But I haven't done too much else.
We can talk about that in a second. But yeah, I did all the gigs, Cyber Psycho missions, the side jobs, and all of them. I thought, well, like gigs were, except for like Phantom Liberty, they really stepped it up with gigs. I think they were much of like a list checking thing, and which open world game, I'm fine with that. I thought Cyber Psycho stuff was actually more interesting as you kind of got some more dips into just interpersonal stories in Night City and how like the whole theme of the game is like Night City kind of like swallows everything and everyone who lives in it, and you're like it's hard to like get out of that. So I really enjoyed that. And then the side jobs, yeah, I did all the side jobs as well. And I think we both played Male V, so we both went with Pan Am if we want to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Pan Am. I mean, look, like there's a lot of people that had their first video game crush as Lara Croft. For me, my first real video game crush, I feel like, is Pan Am, just with how much you get to know her.
I like Pan Am a lot, but also like I wasn't interested in like joining the Aldecados, so I didn't like go with her ending or anything. But her just like the quest she had to tell and her like the dealing with the family and everything, I thought was very well done. So I did enjoy all the and then like the romance scene in like a tank. You just can't. That was goofy in the best way possible.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, 100%. Like it did become goofy, and like yeah, you're basically kind of helping her sort her like family issues in a way, and like like the choices that you pick, where it's like, oh, you have to make sure that you're supporting her to in order to like to get the romance going. Otherwise, if you don't, they just lock you out of the romance.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would like thoughts on well something about side quests is you're kind of like forced to sometimes just wait on side quests, and that got annoying after a while because after a while, since I was doing them all, I was really just having like fast travel and wait with the timer and everything just to like get what I wanted to appear. So that definitely got annoying towards the end of the playthrough, but that's like a very small nitpick if I had to say so. So I don't know if you ever had to do any of that.
So, so this is something I didn't know about that you can do in the game. Like, because in Phantom Liberty, you have to do a few errands for Mister Hands if you want to, go that route and have him help you in the mission. And I didn't realize that like I spent a few days doing them, and then I think you have to like wait a day to give it for him to call. So I went back to Night City, continued the romance quest, but I didn't know that you can just time travel in the game.
You can, but sometimes even that wouldn't work. It was kind of a weird system because I was like waiting for Pan Am quests and different character quests because I knew they were going to happen and they just wouldn't happen even if I waited or fast traveled and stuff. So I kind of just had to play the long game and do the main story because I got to points in like the before I beat the game where like everything was done besides like a handful of various side stuff. So that definitely got annoying towards the very end of the playthrough and led to me kind of wanting to wrap it up, but I still really enjoyed my time overall.
Oh yeah, same. It was still a good experience.
And then just overall thoughts on Night City because it's a very distinct like location and the way that it's presented and like the feel whenever you're exploring it and just you kind of get a vibe from Night City and it's a really cool vibe to play through a game and the game just graphically is one of the best games ever. So, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, so that's the thing with the I really liked about Night City. Yeah, like of course how it looks, and also it just feels alive. Like obviously this is a future that it's not it, it's not the future like we're currently living in, but it's a good like kind of like a good imagination, and like these people feel very real. The NPCs are interactable. They also feel like some of them have character, and and I also really liked how they improved the police system where you can drive while like you can shoot while driving.
Oh yeah, and the police system, like you brought up, was just like I would accidentally run over some people and I'd get in a massive cop chase and they like defensive drive. So that really made it feel immersive and just fun whenever being chased by the cops. Like I always had a blast if I got some stars on the wanted list. So I'm glad that I played that when that was a thing. And I honestly never touched car combat. I felt it's definitely something they're like trying out for the future of like Cyberpunk 2, which is something we'll touch on later. But I think like car combat and the police system are something that can be utilized in that more whenever it's built around that for sure.
Yeah, and I will say actually, just like while we're on the car system, the one thing this is kind of like a small nitpick of mine. I found sometimes like the conversations in driving that they felt too long. Like you're just sitting in the car waiting for the scene to end.
Yeah, and some you can skip the cars if you're like riding with people, but also like I found not like riding with people like driving in Night City is always a blast because you're just like looking up and the AI for like there's tons of cars driving around, so it's always fun just driving places. I thought.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
And if we
sure.
want to start touching on just the main story and not Phantom Liberty, you want to touch on that?
Yes. So the main story, I okay. So I thought at the beginning it just felt a bit slow to actually build up. Like
Well, did you
into
choose like what of the three did you choose? Nomad,
oh I
Street Kid, Corpo.
Corpo. Yeah. I don't know that one just found the most interesting. And which one did you pick?
I went with Street Kid.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So Corpo, like with that story, you find out. Yeah, he does work for Arasaka, and then now he's like, like like that. Of course, affects all his dialogue choices with the main story, and so yeah, like overall, I thought the main story was good when it picked up. Like I feel like it really picked up when the whole accident happens where Keanu Reeves just appears as like a, I guess it's called like a hallucination kind of for where only he can see him and they're
Well,
interconnected.
yeah, the through the relic. Do you like Keanu's performance? I
I
think it
thought
was hit
it
or
was
miss.
yeah, that's the thing. Like I didn't feel like he was I like hearing his voice, but maybe it's just like how the characters like movements and stuff didn't really match up to acting in his movies.
Yeah, I do think it was his performance was kind of a hit or miss, and I think it got better in Phantom Liberty for sure. I
Oh
think
yeah,
there's like a very big quality like difference between the main game and Phantom Liberty just on all aspects. But I did enjoy spending time with Johnny towards like and growing with him. So I mean like first if we want to like semi recap, like you said, yeah, I thought the beginning was a little slow, like you said, and then Jackie dies and you do I thought the heist was crazy. I really
oh
liked the
yeah,
heist mission and then like Deshaun betrays you and then you're pretty much like thrown in a dump and you die and you come back. And this is like it's a it hit for sure, but it would have hit even harder if it was a little like shorter from start of the game to that point, I think.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, there are some parts where it just felt like, all right, you're like kind of waiting for like the next big thing to happen, and it took a bit to get to that. But yeah, yeah. Overall, I'd say it was when you got especially to the end, and you're helping. Oh god, I'm trying to remember his name. The Japanese guy that
Takamura?
you say. Yeah,
Takamura? Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
part.
you help him and you're kind of like planning like the trying to get in the parade to find Hanako because like the heist like I forgot like the Arasaka dude kills his dad who's like very
Oh,
old and tries to take like a big takeover of Arasaka. So I mean that was just like crazy watching with Jackie and like the cabinet, and then you're after that you're like with Takamura and you're kind of trying to get around, um, trying to meet with Hanako, and then you like meet with like the dude with the blades who's like her bodyguard, and you have to defeat him. I didn't kill him. I don't know about you.
oh yeah, yeah. The dude with the blades. Oh yeah, I know you're talking about I think I had to because it was like a boss you had to kill, right? Like when you were going to infiltrate Arasaka.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
did that for
then
my second playthrough. So, yeah, good.
yeah, and then meet with Hanako, and I actually never did like the main ending. I did the Phantom Liberty ending, which we'll touch on later, and I was very happy with that one. I actually liked it a lot. So, but what did you think? You said you did the base game ending as well.
Yeah, so I did the like first I did the Phantom Liberty ending, and then I did the what's it called the Pan Am ending, and that ending I thought was really fun because like of course you do this whole quest where you're there for Pan Am, and then she returns the favor by bringing the whole family like for you, and so it it was fun because like you were just literally infiltrating Arasaka, and then you're helping defeat the boss. And sadly, there were some like like some emotional moments. Like for example, I mean this is a big spoiler, but they kill Saul in that ending, and that
Wow,
was
yeah.
like yeah, yeah. They killed him right before that boss actually, and but then once you do it, your ending ends up with just you and Panem alone driving off to Arizona. I think it's Arizona, something like that.
Yeah, and then we have what was I gonna say? I mean, meeting with the Voodoo Boys was definitely a big moment, and like going through the Black Wall and all that with Johnny and
Oh yeah,
Alt and all that was definitely very cool. So, like, no, you can really trust no one in Night City because they were gonna backstab you from the start as well. So,
yeah. Oh yeah,
and
one
then
hundred
like,
percent.
and then you saw what happened with Evelyn Parker, how she pretty much just like her brain dead kind of. She's like not responsive or anything. So,
Yeah,
yeah, overall, I thought the main story was very good. It was definitely on the shorter side, but for a game that has a lot of other content, I wasn't really complaining that much.
yes, same. Like like I said, like it's a good length for for a story, I think. And then of course with Phantom Liberty, like having more of that story, I thought that was good that they did that.
Yeah, for sure. And if we want to, anything else you want to touch on kind of in the main game?
So in the main game, yeah. So I'm trying to think, like with Johnny Silverhand as a character, would you say you liked him? You liked him, or did you think he was like kind of an asshole?
It's a mix of both, which is definitely what they were going for. There were a lot of it, like his side quest. Did you do a side quest?
Oh no, I didn't do it fully, but I heard that unlocks like other stuff.
Yeah, what happens is you go with Johnny to you pretty much bring the band back together. You bring Samurai back together for one gig. You visit and you let him take control for that night. And then you also visit his burial site and there's a good emotional moment for there. And a kind of a frustrating thing with the game is my character was definitely more on the nice side with Johnny. They were kind of like buddies. But also you were kind of forced to like be assholes to each other at certain points, which got annoying at like, cause I was trying to like be nice, and we ended up like getting angry at each other. So I don't know about you.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's the part where that that I didn't like. It's like, oh, like there's some parts where Johnny finally starts to appreciate you, and you're developing this this connection, but then all of a sudden he's an asshole, and then the dialect choices they pick, you kind of have to be a little bit of an asshole back. Like you have to fight back.
Yeah, for sure. Which I do think like a Phantom Liberty ending kind of got rid of that, and you could like leave it on a good note with him, which I liked. But yeah, overall, I liked Johnny, although I definitely didn't like him at certain points. But I he was a good like part of the game. I don't regret like being with him either. So
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely like a key part, and I'm glad that they got they got Keanu Reeves, and also Keanu Reeves did like a lot of lines for this. He has, other than the
yeah,
most lines. Yeah.
it didn't feel like he was there to like get paid. He was definitely doing his job.
Oh yeah.
And if we want to move on to Phantom Liberty, which I think is one of like the best DLCs of all time. So we can touch on like it opens with you getting a call from Songbird, who is like the president's assistant, and you're like, we're going down, like Space Force One's going down. We need you to come help us, and that leads into an amazing story with great characters. And you go save the president. It's a spy thriller, which they nailed so well, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
this was definitely like probably the best spy thriller I played because it just keeps you engaging. And of course this story's like shorter than the base game, but I feel like there's a lot more points that hit in this, and that's probably why I like it more. Like it's just like one thing that's interesting after the next, and all the characters, like even even the president, as mad as I was that you couldn't actually romance her, she was still good for her part.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can like towards the end, you can kind of see she's kind of in it for her as well, and to like forward the NUSA because that's like she's the president of the NUSA, which she's trying to like build back America, but she's like not afraid to kind of like breach the black wall and everything, trying to like which is illegal to like get what she wants, which is a very like I don't know. I found it very engaging. Just all the characters were very engaging. I thought, and if we want to like touch on that, like you have to. I also like Kurt some as well, even though he was kind of like there to like forward the plot. It kind of felt like I thought Dogtown and kind of the thing he built up in Dogtown was very good. Like Dogtown's vibe was very different from the rest of Night City, even though it's kind of in Night City, which I really liked. Because all like the
Yeah,
side quests and gigs in Dogtown as well are also a step above anything else in the base game, which made it stand out for sure. So and
yeah.
like there's a certain side quest that kind of what's like Kurt's it starts with a B, but like Kurt's group, like private militia or whatever. Pretty much, there's this young dude who kind of like fucks up, and then he gets made an example of, and you like his quest, and he ends with him like being shown as an example to the rest. Don't like mess with us. And like all the quests, like you could tell every side quest had several different endings, and there's much more choice in Phantom Liberty. It felt like.
Yes. So he was the what's it called? Like I don't know the bar guest or bar guest, something like that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. So that character, like I think he was only there for a little bit, which is why I don't actually remember too much about Kurt. But
Yeah, he was
I
very
think
much there to like forward the plot and give
yeah.
everything a stage for what it needed to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, and I do agree with you. Like Dogtown felt different from Night City, despite it being like only like a small part of it, just because of how dense it felt. It just felt like, oh yeah, this is its own thing. This feels like Idris Elba said this in an interview where this is not a DLC. This is an expansion. There's just so much to do.
Speaking of Idris Elba, he was an absolute standout in this DLC. It's like Solomon Reed is my favorite character of the entire like Cyberpunk game. So I thought his like character written, he's not like a good person either. He has so many flaws and kind of like he's that type of person who like puts everything onto himself and feels like he needs to take care of everything. It's just like his complex and everything he like. I just thought his character is very well written. I don't know about you.
Yeah, he definitely feels like so here's the thing with Idris Elba and just this plot of the game. You can be you can like either really like his character, understand where he's coming from, or you can also just think he's an asshole and he's wrong for what he did, and you could still be right in both ways. That's how much
Yeah.
depth they put it in him as a character, and and his performance was really good.
Like every time Solomon Reed shows up, he's like, "You shut up and listen." He steals like the whole room.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I don't mind listening because like I want to see more of him. I like it when he's on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then like Songbird, she starts becoming a little suspicious. and you go meet her in a hotel mission, which I thought was very, very good. I loved the hotel mission. I thought that was a standout, and also a previous mission that I like. A way to like the opening mission for the DLC. What a way to open an expansion!
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you're fighting like the big tank robot, and like Songbird malfunction. She just like goes completely dark for several hours of the expansion. It leads like a tense suspicion kind of looming in the background, and like on the hotel again. That's when she like whenever you saw like because whenever she's like projecting herself through the relic, she's like looks actually like human. And then whenever you like meet her first, she's like half cyborg or whatever, and it's kind of jarring for sure. And like the kind of toll that she has to do for her job.
Yeah, and like because of course only seeing her like holographically, you can't really tell like that she's half cyborg. Like she just thinks, oh yeah, she's just like a human, you know. And then
Yeah, because
once you meet her,
she
yeah,
projected a past version of herself to V, who she like wants to be.
oh yeah, wow, yeah, this the technology advancements in in the cyberpunk universe are crazy.
And then I don't know about you, but I thought Songbird was kind of crazy. I thought like
Oh
her like whole thing, her like drive and everything was just kind of like she wasn't in a good situation, but also I thought, man, that bitch is crazy.
yeah, she definitely was crazy, and that's Songbird's like her whole arc, and this is like getting it into like the main story. Just the fact that like you have a dilemma in this story, like a big choice to make. Where do you turn her in to the government, and they use her for their research, or like at the end, or like do you let her die, but like she becomes free and doesn't have to torture that, but also you lose out on like the thing you're going for, which is a cure.
Yeah, with
And,
Songbird, her like whole like backstory was she was a team that got into net running and like did a big like heist or whatever, and pretty much the government approached her saying like you can come work for us or you're gonna get caught and put in jail or whatever. And Reed was the one who recruited her in quotation marks. So it was kind of like an ultimatum. So she blames Reed for pretty much all of her problems because he was the one that put her in that situation. And then pretty much secretly, although it's illegal, President Myers forced her to like go through the black wall for her own gains, which slowly and slowly cost her parts of her body. And as it started getting taken control by like rogue AIs in the black wall, that's kind of like her whole character.
yeah,
So
and did she try to kill Reed as well?
I don't. Yeah, she
Like
tried
the
to kill her.
yeah.
Yeah, because then Alex also died, who was kind of like a side character in the DLC. Kirk killed her because I sided with Reed because I thought Song like none of them are both fully in the right. That's what makes it such a like hard decision. But I thought
Yeah.
Reed was more in the right. So and I just liked Reed more, and I thought Songbird was a little crazy. So and then she like goes berserk, and you like chase her across town, and then Max Tack gets her, and that's like running up on Max Tack was such a cool thing because like the threat they pose as well. So I thought that was very cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Running of Max Deck was really cool. Another part I found really cool. This was right before you make that first decision. Was just like disguising yourself as the French twins, or I think siblings.
Oh yeah, like you pretty much
Like
all aspects of like a spy thriller, all like the things they do and all those were here. Like they did pretty much everything. When like the face mask was another thing, and that was just very cool. So yeah, for sure.
yeah, that they really took advantage of like what can you do in the future? Like what are some ideas to make this interesting?
Yeah, I completely agree. And you like then you're forced once after like during that mission you're forced to side with Songbird, side with Reed. The game's very upfront where it says you want to do each of those things. I'm pretty sure we both sided with Reed.
Oh yeah, yes,
And then
signing with her.
like and then there you come to that last mission which is like deep underground and abandoned research facility, and then you pretty much get a 2 to 3 hour survival horror game.
Yeah.
And that came out of left field, and I loved it. They did such a good job. It makes me want a survival horror game in like the Cyberpunk universe now.
Oh, same. And the horror effects, like I'm not sure if it's like the game's lighting or like maybe the music, but just like you get anxiety when you see like
Yes.
the robot's gonna come. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the robot's the Mr. X of the game, and you get glitched whenever it's around, and it's like it's not even like a short mission, like it's 2 to 3 hours, and it's like the big climax, and you're like sneaking around, trying to like do everything to reach Songbird, because at this point she's almost completely gone, like the Rogue's eyes have completely taken control of her, and she's like not herself, and it's like I can't get over how good that mission was, because it really is like they took inspiration from so many things, and you feel like powerless against the robot, and you really have to sneak around, because at first you're thinking, oh, this I have to like sneak across, and you like get a map, and you think, okay, this will take like 30 minutes, and then it's like 2 hours later and you're still knee deep in this, and you're like, oh crap, this could have been its own game.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, exactly, and yeah, I think that's what they were r- really going for, and yeah, and like yeah, originally this was supposed to be like a free DLC, but then they they made I feel like they did a lot more with it, and justified like making it an expansion worth paying for.
Yeah, I got my $30 worth, no question asked, for sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
then you reach the climax of the DLC, and it's kill or save Songbird, and you pretty much like go into her mind and converse with her at the Brooklyn apartment she talked about at several points during the campaign, and you're pretty much talking with her, hearing her out, and really, because this is honestly like the first time you've really got to one-on-one have a conversation with her, and it's at the end of the expansion, which I think was pretty well done, and I saved her. Even though it was a very big dilemma, I decided to save her. And what about you?
yeah. So I also decided with you to save her, but I was very curious. Like I watched on YouTube, like what happens if you don't save her, and like obviously, like the ending we got was like, oh, the president shakes her hand. She's very happy to see you. They're very happy you got Songbird, and then they promise you the cure. But if you don't save her, like the president's not at all happy to see her, and and you're like, hey, what about my cure? And she's like, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. We're not going to hold up ours, and that's that.
Yeah, because like President Myers at first is pretty friendly with you because you're like staying in an apartment, kind of like on the down low, getting to converse with her. And throughout the expansion, from like different people, you start getting the vibe that she's very selfish. She kind of like furthers everything for her own personal gain. Everything, every person she knows is kind of like a chess piece on her table. And at the end, you finally see her again, and you kind of get the idea. Yeah, this was all kind of like another day kind of mission for her, that she just needed Songbird back. She didn't care about her, she cared about what she could do.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like an interesting development of a character, I think, and especially one with so much power that she can just get away with being that, being the selfish person. Yeah.
Yeah. And when after you like the Phantom Liberty DLC, I think it's before like you meet um Myers again, you get the very it's like a 5 minute music like credit trailer. And I've played that on repeat so many times. It's like it's you feel like it's like an opening to a spy thriller, which begs the question maybe they should have put it at the beginning of the DLC, but they did save it for the end. But it was just very good. And I don't know how just
Yeah.
like the vibe and the visuals. I thought it was I loved it. So
Yeah, it was so good. So good. Like I felt happy being in that game after I heard that. I'm like, yes, this makes me feel happier.
and then you meet with Myers. You can either take or reject the medal. I took the medal. And did you take the oath at the beginning of the expansion?
Oh yeah, yeah. I found it so
Yeah,
funny. Oh, Johnny wasn't. Or go.
Because honestly, you do get Johnny like opens up about his past in the military, which is something that was only briefly mentioned in the main game, but something he kind of helps give you a different perspective on what military people are like throughout the expansion. And I thought that was a very good depth to his character.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he also makes fun of you for it, which is so funny. Like, yeah, it's like you said earlier, earlier, like he definitely becomes like better as a character in the expansion.
Yeah, for sure. And then at the end, you see Myers and you get the cure. Well, like what we can, I guess we can talk about the cure. You pretty much say your goodbyes to key characters, which I think was Victor and Pan Am for me. I don't remember anyone else. Did you have anyone else? Whenever it's like, make your goodbyes. This is going to be 3 weeks, and then some like
Yeah,
recovery time, the kind of like physical therapy kind of thing. After that,
yeah. So yeah, for me it was the same, but like I know like some people got Judy, and there was another character. I'm trying to remember his name, but yeah, like first, yeah, it was just Victor or Panam. I think Victor just everyone has.
yeah, and then you're pretty much they come and pick you up on the roof of Misty's place, and then you pretty much have your final conversation with Johnny because you find out they're purging him like like he's a tumor in your brain, and you get the final conversation, and it can go very south in an angry conversation, but I managed to turn it into it was angry at first, kind of sad, and then like I'm glad I met you. You're glad you met me. I'm gonna miss you. Blah blah blah. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like wait, did you do that dialogue in that Johnny Silverhand mission? Like apparently, if you pick a specific choice, there's a way to get it so that it's like a more positive dialogue where
Yeah.
he's
No.
like
My
he's
Yeah. Mine was overall positive towards the end of the conversation. Both thanking each other for everything, meeting, glad we met each other. I don't know how did your conversation go because mine was pretty positive, except like the inner turmoil towards the beginning. But then we kind of like both came to peace with it.
yeah, very negative, very negative, and then it's like, oh, but then you're both like, oh, what if we forgive each other in the next life? And you get this option of yes or no, and he's like, if you say yes, oh, I'll probably forgive you, and then Johnny would be like, yeah, me too. But if you pick no, he'll be like, that's probably for the best.
And then that's the last you talk to Johnny.
Yep.
And then you get put to sleep, and you wake up, and at first you can notice Reed looks a little different. And I'm like, hmm. They said it would take 3 weeks, and then you find out it's been 2 years. And that was just like a shock. I was not expecting that. How about you?
Yeah. No, same. I was shook because I'm like, oh hey, you're up in the hospital. You know, things should be going fine. Nope.
And then you are told with the news you can no longer use Chrome outside of like your personal link, which is used to like pay stuff and kind of like how that's. You can no longer have implants. All your implants are gone. And I know some people thought this was very negative, but I thought it was a good trade-off. I'm glad that getting rid of this did not come without a cost. I'm glad it wasn't a get off free, like get out of jail free card. I don't know how did you feel about pretty much him being pretty
Yeah.
powerless now.
Mm. Yes. So it's I get what you're saying. Like it's good that we kind of got this cure in a way, but at the same time, I just felt like all these characters that have been cut off, like Pan even if you, I don't know if you did this, but like you can read the text and
Yep.
it will show
Yes.
you Pan yeah, like yeah, like it just felt like you just kind of ghosted everybody, and yeah, and like it wasn't really your fault, but it's like that part I found sad that like, oh, everyone's moved on with their lives, but you're still you're just coming back to it 2 years after. It's as if you've kind of gone in this weird prison.
You pretty much you call Victor and he gets a hold of you. He's happy to see you, but then you make your way back to Night City and you Delamain takes you to Victor's clinic, and you find out now he is a corpo ripper, which it was just like times are changing. He didn't really have much of a choice. Misty has left, pretty much. She's gone, but you do run into her. But before that, you get beat up on the side of the road, showing how powerless you are in Night City, which I thought was a very good thing to show. And then you meet with Misty, and she kind of like brings the mood up, and then you pretty much like walk into the background. You do briefly mention that you could go and become a fixer, which is like my headcanon to what my V ended up doing. He became a fixer for people. That's like what my ideal ending was, because I liked this ending. I think my V got his due of mercenary life in the end and was happy where it ended, and happy that he was cured and got like the second chance on life, which honestly, like, he probably wouldn't have gotten, because like this was the only ending where he's cured. Every other ending, he's not cured. So I like the ending. I know online a lot of people didn't. How about you, Jack?
Yeah, so I didn't like the ending as much because it was just it just felt like a sad ending, and like, you've seen this character grow, but now his future doesn't seem like, maybe it's just because I got attached to some of the other characters, like for example Pan Am, like in the credits, what's that guy's name, the bald guy,
Yeah,
like who
Mitch calls you and says, "Don't call me back." She's like done with you. When she gets attached to someone, she gets really attached, and you like
yeah.
broke that, even if it wasn't intentional, which Mitch knew wasn't.
Yeah, and that part's like, but I guess compared to that one, at least, like, unlike the Pan Am ending, at least Saul gets to live in that ending. So it's like there's definitely some wins and losses in each ending. I feel.
Yeah, for sure. None of the endings are good. Well, like they're both, all of them are bittersweet because it like lean into it like Night City, like you don't escape unscathed, which I like because that's what Night City's set up to. And even if you watch the Edge Runners anime, which I don't think you did, but it leans into that as well. It is like Night City isn't a nice place, so, but it's also a cool place to be in, which I liked. Do you want to do closing thoughts on Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty before we like touch on some Cyberpunk 2 hopes?
Yeah. So closing thoughts overall, like we said, like a beautiful game, just a fun RPG. It's like the closest thing we'll ever get to a futuristic GTA, I think, for now. And one other thing just popped in my head. Did you pick up all the stolen cars for
I
what's
did
called
not.
for Dolomite? Oh,
I did.
yeah,
Oh, for Delamain, yes, for Delamain, I did.
yeah. There was one I picked up that I found really, like, I like that it was a cute reference. It was the one that sounded like GLaDOS from Portal.
I haven't played Portal, but that sounds cool.
You- yeah. It was like I looked this up after. It was literally her voice actor, and she did some of the lines from the game in that, and I thought that was a neat reference. But yeah, it's just this game is fun because like even though it's just both of us, we both had some like different experiences in the game, and that's a beautiful thing about a game like this, where you can play it as much as you want, as little as you want, and still have something to talk about to compare with the game. Whereas it's not like a fully linear game where everyone has the same experience. There's still a lot of differences in this.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I'm really glad I waited for Phantom Liberty in 2.0, although I was tempted at certain points. I think from what I hear, all the added content really elevated the game to the next level, which I think if they would have released this could have been like in conversation for one of the best games of all time. I think what they achieved here with what they like set out to do, they absolutely nailed in pretty much spectacular fashion. And I'm excited for Cyberpunk 2 if we want to get into like kind of hopes. Because they mentioned some, I don't know Cyberpunk lore, but they've definitely mentioned different other cities in this dystopian future. And I hope Cyberpunk 2 is not in Night City. I want somewhere else. I don't know about you.
Oh, same. I think that, because there's like so many endings. I think this is a great way to move on from V. and just like put the spotlight on a brand new character. Yeah, like I said, outside of Night City, in another part of America or the world, and have a very different setting and explore that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I don't know where they'd explore, and I don't know. It's obviously going to be like a Witcher Cyberpunk 2077-esque RPG, but will it take place in 2077? We know there's been corporate wars. I think doing it a different time setting could be interesting. I think that they have a lot of room to explore, even though I don't know a whole lot about Cyberpunk lore in general. But I also think like the police system and car combat system are both things that could probably be expanded in that as well. I think they have just a lot of room for growth. Like I think they nailed it after all the updates, and I hope that whatever's next, I'm gonna be there day one for sure.
Oh yeah, same. And like I said, even if they do a small like a horror game, that would be a really cool idea to wait between the next big one.
Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, I think we did pretty much covered everything, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. We covered a lot. This was a fun game to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jap, for joining me, and please make sure to check us out on all the places I listed at the beginning of the episode and subscribe to us on YouTube and give this video a like as it helped us grow. Please check out Slice of Gaming and Slice of Anime, and good night.
See ya, tunes.
See you, chums.